Ladies and gentlemen, the public conference comes to a close. We are about to get into the academic mode straight away. The first lecture of this morning is in the form of a keynote address on exploring the heart-mind connection. Our invited speaker is none other than the organizing chairman, Dr. H.K Chopra. He will be speaking for 18 minutes, followed by 2 minutes for chairperson's observation. Immediately succeeding him would be Dr. H.K Sharma, who would be speaking for 12 minutes on nutrition and heart, and she'll take 2 questions from the floor. May I request Professor Rick Levy, Mrs. Levy, Dr. Sonia L. Saedi, Dr. I.P.S. Kaldra, and Dr. H.K Sharma to kindly stay on. Thank you very much. Dr. Chopra.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real great pleasure for me, and at the outset I express my gratitude to the chairpersons for chairing this important session. It's a new dimension for me to go scientifically and connect science and spirituality for a healthy heart. The subject given to me is exploring the heart and mind connection and consciousness. Consciousness, what we call as soul and spirit. As I mentioned to you, anybody getting a heart attack below the age of 70, it is his or her own fault. After the age of 70, it's God's will. Healthy heart optimization by integrating heart and mind connection with the soul and spirit is the need of the hour, and Dr. Satish has already worked a lot on this issue. Sir Albert Einstein, a physicist, once said that we are not the packages of flesh and bone with the wisps of memory and desire, but we are all the web of information and energy interwoven with the emotions and intelligence from the eye of the soul and not from the eye of the body or eye of the mind. Ladies and gentlemen, the main agenda of my presentation is to highlight the rising burden of CVD in India and to discuss the relationship of stress and coronary artery disease and the relationship of rising depression in elderly patients with CVD, which is a double jeopardy, and to discuss the mind and heart connection mythically, mystically, etymologically, alchemically, archetypally, biochemically, quantum physical level, and relevance to the healthy heart, and also to explore the heart-mind connection and its clinical application. CVD burden is known to all of you. I've been speaking from the day one, is rising very steeply in our country. Despite stent and bypass surgery, that is not the solution. The message should be very clear in this conference. We have to look and explore the heart and mind connection. Industrialization, rapid urbanization, globalization, and environmental pollution and mental pollution are the main predictors of CAD. The need of heart wellness program cannot be overemphasized to integrate heart-mind connection and consciousness. The CVD is assuming epidemic proportion. There is a huge data. The mortality is reduced in the Western world, in the European world, but WHO projections are that there is a 100% rise in mortality in CVD in India by the year 2015. India is on the top. It's a matter of great concern, ladies and gentlemen. We have so many conferences and meetings and research, but there is a rapid rise of heart problems. Heart is beating. Who is making our heart beat? You? No. Is it me? No. Who is that? It's all our consciousness, which keeps our heart tickling. A flower blossoms. Who blossomed the flower? It's all our consciousness. It is all our spirit. It is all our soul. CAD burden, you see here, 1960 to 2012, prevalence is increasing. Mortality is rising. Technology is risen up. Very expensive. But the morbidity is same and mortality is same. To be an Indian itself is a risk factor. The disease is very expensive, more metabolic syndrome, more hypertension, more diabetes, more obesity. So this is the target. We have to attack this. If you really want to attack heart attack, attack all the risk factors. The prevalence is very high. This is our own data published in Indian Heart Journal. 40 to 60 years of age, highest prevalence of metabolic syndrome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not my data. This is the data from Inter-Heart study published this is 52 countries data with 15,000 patients, and mentions psychosocial factors, depression, anxiety, cynical behavior, hostility, irritability are the very, very important determinants of premature heart attack. This is the data which I collected from Jack, BMJ, Lancet and Indian Heart Journal have shown very clearly that the depression has a very, very strong relationship with rise in the CV events. Work stress, stress at the place of working, highest incidence of angina, acute stress, maximum angina, heart attacks and sudden deaths. And with MI, once you get a heart attack, the depression also rises by 4 times. These are the authorities in the world who had a maximum contribution in the relationship of heart and mind connection, which has not been revealed till date, till Lionel Opie, who is the cardiologist from Cape Town, South Africa, who went to Oxford and then Harvard, who was the one who wrote a book last year on heart and mind connection, published, released and sold at a very high level in the world. Higgs boson. There was a huge word. We're talking of God's particle. What exactly are the God's particle? We'll discuss very shortly in 1964. In 1869, a discovery of DNA by Mischler from Switzerland, who did a lot of work on this. These are the authorities who was working, but they are, two of them are not, one of them is not here. This is very important. If we really want to have a healthy heart, we should know who we are. Are we the physical body? No. Are we the subtle body? No. Are we the causal body? Yes. We are all the expression of the causal body. When I say causal body, it's a consciousness. It is a unified field. And this physical body is nothing but a combination of matter and energy. Our skin, bone, muscles, hair, they are all the part of matter, and energy is our kinetic energy and potential energy. Our heart is contracting, it's a potential energy. And kinetic energy is our blood is flowing, is a kinetic energy. Who makes our blood flow? You? No. It's me? No. Somebody is behind us who is making our blood flow, who is making our heart contract. There is a synchrony between the flow of kinetic energy and the potential energy. Then there is a subtle body which is known as transformation field. It is a mind which is feelings, emotions, thoughts and intellect is a discrimination power, faith, belief. That is an intellect. Ego is a self-referral or an object referral. And the causal body is what we call as soul and spirit in a spiritual way. But from the medical perspective, we call it as consciousness or a unified field. Even we can call it as a reticular activating system, since it is individual based information. At the primordial level, it is the vibration and the sound which create the whole universe within me and outside me. That's why I spoke in my inaugural address that you and me are the hologram of the universe, and the whole universe is our hologram. We just take one drop of blood from our body and get the whole information of the blood sugar within me. Total TLC, DLC count just by a micro drop. So it's a hologram of the whole body. The same way we are the hologram of the universe. So our body is an objective experience of information energy, and our mind is a subjective experience. What is consciousness? It's not debatable. It's there. It is the consciousness which conceives, perceives, constructs and governs the whole body and the whole universe. In today's language, I can call this as, it is a gigantic cybernetic loop which is emitting, transmitting, receiving and perceiving the information and energy all the time at an individual level or at a unified level in the whole universe. What is consciousness can also be defined as a thinker of a thought. When I have a thought in my mind, who is the thinker? That thinker is consciousness. It is the idea generator. It is non-local. It is not trapped into my body. Whatever is trapped in my body is just a local consciousness. But consciousness is non-local. After my death, after I leave my body, it is everywhere. It's omnipotent, omniscience, omnipresent, here, there, everywhere. It is an infinite intelligent, as I was mentioning yesterday in the lecture, when Shivani gave a lecture, it's an infinity. It's a field of silence. It is a radically ambiguous, ceaselessly flowing quantum soup. Then what is DNA? As you know, the DNA is the source of intelligence and expression of intelligence and intelligence itself. There was a huge word about telomeres. longer is the size of telomere, longer I live. Shorter is the size of telomere, shorter I live. What determines the size of telomere? It's our lifestyle. I have shown here on the one slide that the DNA is damaged if you are stressed, if you smoke, if you take tobacco, alcohol and toxins. So ladies and gentlemen, our genotype is your phenotype. There are a lot of words, as I mentioned on the first day, gluon fusion causes quark, and it is the quark which is responsible for the Higgs boson, but they are all expression of consciousness. Vasudev Kutumbakam, everything has been written in Gita. And the whole universe, scientists are recognizing now. So ladies and gentlemen, our consciousness is like a cosmic computer. And the mind within you and me is the programmer, and the cells in our body, which are 60 trillion cells and 6 trillion chemical reactions, are the terminals of the cosmic computer where the programmer works. And what is the environment then? You and me, our external environment is our extended body. And the healthy heart is therefore a hologram of the whole universe expressed by various authors, as I mentioned here down below. This is very important. I've been telling you repeatedly, we should not be in a sympathetic mode. Aggression, anger, agitation, arrogance, anxiousness, ego, cynical behavior, negative competition, jealousy, hatred, grief, vengeance, bigotry, depression, suppression, repression, frustration may increase the blood pressure, heart rate, vasospasm, oxidation of LDL, sudden clotting and a sudden death or a massive heart attack or a VT and VF. This is from the Ayurvedic concept. It says if you are a P personality imbalance, you may get a plaque rupture early. A lot of data to support what I'm saying. Then if you are a K personality, only cholesterol deposits, hypertension, metabolic syndrome and heart failure. If it's a V imbalance, you get palpitation, atrial fibrillation. Huge data to support, but time is short here. We should all the time be in parasympathetic mode. It is the parasympathetic mode which makes us live long. What are the methods? Mindfulness, meditation, exercise, fruits, vegetable, nuts. They all liberate serotonin, endorphins and reduce the jittery molecules of epinephrine, norepinephrine and dopamine and reduce the clotting tendencies and oxidation of LDL. This data I took from Satish Gupta's article, which is a very powerful data, and it says angio lesion regression, CV event regression, anxiety score and depression score and anger score over 8 years follow-up is significantly reduced by Raj Yoga meditation. It's a news. We should go in the whole globe. Then what are we doing by so much of intervention? Are we really abusing the patients or we are really helping them? I totally agree. In acute emergency, it is a huge role. But unnecessarily chronic stable angina, patients should not be subjected to intervention. It is more injury. All the 8 limbs of yoga should be followed. Whether it's do's and don'ts, self-discipline, postures of exercise, breathing exercise, must, contemplation, concentration, meditation and transcendence. Ladies and gentlemen, I must mention to you that heart-mind-body connection is a tranquilizer, energizer, stabilizer, equalizer, happinessizer and equipoiser. I must mention to you, I heard that Dr. Naveen Sinanda gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he's a meditator. And you can see at this age, very calm and cool. And Dr. V.K. Shah was asking me today in the morning, is he still working? I say he's in a very active position. And here he is. He brings the huge faculty. He's calm and cool. These are toxic emotions, toxic behavior, toxic relationship, toxic consumption and toxic lifestyle precipitates a premature heart attack. What's important? We are discussing for the last 3 days. Inner calmness, absolute consciousness, an attitude of gratitude. Please have an attitude of gratitude. That is everything in life. You don't need to do anything in life. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I must mention to you 3 M are very important. Mindfulness, meditation and effective medication after the age of 50-55. Don't ignore medication, please. Medication is very, very important. We are scientists, so we know what is the importance of meditation. Heart-mind connection harmony is a must and it needs to be grown in younger individuals if you want to live longer and live younger. What's the take-home message, ladies and gentlemen? Life of millions is at stake with CVD and metabolic syndrome and the triple jeopardy along with the depression. 3M is a must. Practice of 3M may definitely reduce the CVD morbidity and mortality. Consciousness, as I mentioned to you, perceives, conceives, constructs and governs. Please see everybody and do everything in life from the level of consciousness. You will never be wrong. Act locally and have an impact globally. This is just to show a cartoon which was published in Times of India about 1 month ago. That when you work from the heart level or consciousness, you go to the higher level. If you work at the level of mind, you are in a cage. When you are at the level of the mind, you are all the time thinking about the money, Mercedes car and a big bungalow. That make you imprisoned and you become a victim of negative emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to mention a very small video clipping. You can just have a look
Today
at the
we will
clipping.
talk about the mechanism that causes fundamental particles to have mass. If the electron had a different mass, then the orbitals inside atoms would be a different size, and the world would be a very different place. Let's begin by talking about the thing that physicists call a field. The need often arises to describe something that can have a different value at every point in space, like the air temperature, or like the wind velocity, or like the strength and direction of some force, such as the Earth's magnetic field. There are only 4 forces that we know of, and they are all described by fields that give their strength and direction at every point in space. But take note that a force field is something real. It is not just a number for every point in space. It has a physical reality. As John Archibald Wheeler said, it occupies space. It contains energy. Its presence eliminates the true vacuum. And in the words of Feynman, the field creates a condition in space. In classical physics, these fields were often thought of as continuous, smoothly changing entities. But quantum mechanics rejects the notion of continuous, and so fields become distributions of tiny field particles. And the strength of the field at any given point was nothing but the density or the quantity of field particles at that point. These particles are called virtual particles because they violate the conservation of energy rule for extremely short times in order to exist. They exist because of energy fluctuations allowed by Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, but they must disappear quickly because of the same principle. In force fields, like electric or magnetic fields, these field particles are called gauge bosons. They are the physical reality that occupies space as described by Wheeler. And while gauge bosons exist as virtual particles when generated in violation of conservation laws, they can exist as real particles too, if they are given enough energy to satisfy the conservation accounting. Most fields in science are generated by some source. An electric field is generated by an electric charge. Take away the source, and the value of the field goes to 0. And Feynman's condition in space disappears. But the Higgs field is different in this respect. It still has a value, a physical reality, at every point in space, even without a source to generate it. So there really is no empty space anywhere. The entire cosmos is saturated with Higgs field all the time, everywhere. And because of quantum mechanics, this means there has to be a field particle. Enter the Higgs boson. Virtual Higgs bosons are the quanta of the Higgs field, and they interact with all particles except the photon, the graviton, and the gluons. The interaction between the Higgs boson and each particle is directly related to the rest mass of that particle. Since the top quark has the highest rest mass, it also has the strongest interaction with the Higgs. The electron is 300,000 times less mass than the top quark, so its Higgs interaction is much smaller. And the almost massless neutrino has only a tiny interaction. Since the Higgs permeates all space, any particle that interacts with the Higgs interacts with it all the time, and everywhere. The Higgs particle acts like sticky bits that put a drag on other particles, and it is this drag that we detect as rest mass. In order to detect a Higgs boson in the laboratory, we must create a real one instead of a virtual one. We do this by slamming particles and antiparticles together to create fireballs of terrific energy. And out of this fireball, we look for decay products that indicate that we created a Higgs boson. There may be as many as 5 Higgs fields, each with its own boson. And hopefully in the next year or so, we will discover how many and how massive they really are.
So as is the microcosm within us, so is the macrocosm outside us. We have to integrate it. The time has come now. Thank you very much for a patient hearing.
I think all of you would agree that this was most outstanding and most elegant lecture by our organizing committee chairman. Not only he has organized this whole conference, but also gave one of the best talks that I have ever heard in terms of the mind, body and heart connection. I think he has convincingly shown that mind controls a lot of things, and if we control the mind, do meditation, prayer, whatever you call it, that really would have a very salutary effect on the heart. And as some of the elegant work that Dr. Satish Gupta has done has shown that once you control the mind, or once you take care of your mind, you can take care of your heart. And he has shown reduction in the coronary artery plaques just on the basis of mind, and of course some of the lifestyle factors also. So that's very, very important. One of the things regarding the Higgs boson particle, one must realize that, if you realize that when this was discovered right in the border between, I think, Switzerland and France, that more than 50% of the scientists who were instrumental in identifying this particle were actually either from India or of Indian origin. And even the name boson comes from an Indian scientist. So we should not forget the contributions that India has made in identifying the Higgs particle. Thank you very much for kind attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite our chairman, Professor Nanda, to be joined by...
I thought that Rick Levy is the right person to give more comments, and understand that you have also written a book now which is under publication or it is under distribution. So he may comment on he is the right person to...
I would like to thank Dr. H.K. Chopra for a brilliant lecture. Look what he did here. He laid out the basic structure of Maya within which we appear to exist, beginning with the causal plane and then individualizing it to the causal body, then to the subtle plane or astral plane, and astral and subtle body, and then the physical plane and the physical body. He lays out the basic structure of the appearance of reality. Then he links the whole thing and the individual to the impact of that on our heart and our heart health. The man is brilliant. He is laying out, you can see in the components that he puts together here, he is laying out a total package of how we will defeat heart disease in India and around the world. Dr. H.K. Chopra is a world-class visionary. He is still a young man. I am surrounded by eminent cardiologists and cardiac surgeons here, so I'm going to stick my neck out anyway and predict that this young man will go down in history as India's heart doctor. And as he leads the way with this program, for heart health, we must all follow his leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Levy. May I request Professors Nanda and Levy to please join us in presenting the citation and the medallion to Dr. Chopra. Thank you very much, Chairpersons. Please have your seat.